What's up YouTube? Henry Chung Fitness here, and we are here for a recap on the Ironman Muskoka 70.3 back in July. This is a video just to recap my race experience. This was my very first time completing a half Ironman distance triathlon. Prior to this, I competed in the Toronto Island Triathlon 4 years ago as well as 5 years ago, my first time, and that was the sprint distance with a swim distance of 750 meters, the bike ride of 20 kilometers, and the run of 5 kilometers. So this was my very first chance at doing a longer distance. It's been something that I've really wanted to check off my bucket list, and I really want to challenge myself to this distance.
Whew. Cold morning, but I got it done. Another morning 10K done, and it was hard, but it's always, easy to take the path of least resistance, and it's easy to be complacent, and it's easy to make excuses, easy to complain, but it's actually difficult to be the best version of yourself. But it's your choice. We've got one life to live, and the decision is yours. Choose wisely. Whew, it is cold. 1 hour, 10K complete for a brick run. It's been a while since I've done a cycle into run, but today I did cramp up during the run, so I've got to go back to the drawing board, add some more fluids and electrolytes.
As you can see, I've got my finisher medal, the finisher for the Subaru Ironman 70.3 Muskoka, Canada. Going into this, I had a goal in mind of completing it sub 6 hours, based on some of the, the swim portion, bike portion, as well as the run portion. For my first go, all things considered, I'm glad that I completed. Typical race jitters, morning of.
It is 5:53 a.m. and I've got my number one supporter here for Ironman Muskoka 73, and we are going to transition to drop off my equipment, and Shannon is wide awake.
I went to my bike, put all my equipment that I needed. The previous night we had racked our bikes, so in the morning of, I had to make sure that there was enough air in the tires. I had all my gear laid out so that the T1 and T2 transitions, I'll have my bike gear ready and run gear ready. Going out into the sea of other racers going to start in a mass wave for the swim portion.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There they go. That is our 30 to 34 wave.
It was pretty cool being in the middle of the lake, swimming with hundreds of other people. The 1.9 kilometers for this Ironman 70.3 was the longest swim I've ever completed in an open water setting for this type of race. My previous distance was 750 meters, so quite significant. Surprisingly, I really didn't feel like it was that long, to be honest. I was catching some draft behind other swimmers as well, trying to conserve some energy while also doing my part in pulling for the race. It was definitely a faster pace than I was used to in my training swims, so I definitely have to consider this for next year's training to incorporate faster swims at longer distances as well without stopping. I did end up cutting my foot on something on the ground as I came out of the water. Not really sure what it is. It might have been like a fish hook or something, because I'm sure people fish around there. That was a kind of a shitty moment, but I didn't think of it because I had to just keep going. It was tough because I started cramping and my mind started racing thinking about it, and sure enough, 20 to 30 meters out of the swim exit, I started to cramp in both my quads, and It was brutal. I could barely walk, photos up there. You could see the pain in my face. And, truly I was devastated because I wanted to perform well. Just knowing that I wasn't in a position to perform at my best, it kind of crushed me at that moment. And at that moment, I did truly feel like I couldn't continue. Just having cramps in both quads, I couldn't move. So I tried to relax as much as possible and, breathe and massage my legs and just bring my heart rate down and calm myself. That helped a bit. So I was able to hobble all the way to T1 where the bike was. My legs were still cramping around this time, but they were more mobile. But I was able to get myself up there and start the ride. The 90 kilometers was extremely hilly. If anyone's done the Muskoka Ironman, I wasn't prepared for this. I didn't know how hilly it was, and they call it rolling hills, which it's pretty accurate. At the end of the day, I got it done, and it was quite a beautiful course. I do remember at some parts thinking to myself like, wow, this is awesome. Luckily on the bike ride, I felt the cramps in my legs, but my legs weren't seizing, so I was able to cycle, which is good. But once I came off the bike and started the run portion, I could feel it in my quads, and it was pretty brutal for the half marathon that had to follow. I had to really give it everything. I wish I had taken more electrolytes, more Gatorade, or whatever electrolyte powder, but this is all a learning experience. It's the journey. It's a journey of learning, competing, learning. It's like an iterative process, so that's what I enjoy. Being able to see little increments of improvements is what we go for. Right out of the T2, as the run starts, there's this massive hill to kind of get out of the main area of Huntsville, and that wreaked havoc on my quads. But you keep going. There's the crowd just riles you up, and just the other athletes running, they motivate you, they give words of encouragement. So it's really just like a great community to be around. And ultimately I finished it. I finished the run, and just passing that finish line was just such a great feeling, knowing that I never gave up. There were times that I wanted to give up, that I wanted to stop, but I just kept going. And whether I had to walk or whether I had to stop for a bit and just gather my bearings and then continue on when I was able to, that's what it took. And I finished with a time of about 6 hours and 20 minutes. And it's not the sub 6 hours I was looking for my first time, but at the end of the day, I finished. Definitely one thing that I need to work on and have been working on is the actual nutrition portion. So most people say that Ironman is actually 4 sports. It's the swim, bike, run, and the nutrition. That is the one that will get you to the finish line, including your hydration, your salt, electrolyte intake, your carbs, and just managing that throughout the bike and run portion mostly, as well as leading up to the race. Definitely one thing that I failed to do was take in enough electrolytes prior to the race. It's strange. It was mostly an afterthought. I had salt sticks, the fast chews, which have a fairly low amount of sodium to my knowledge. I filled my bottles with carbs and water, but I didn't take into account electrolytes for some strange reason. Maybe it was an afterthought. Even throughout my training, I noticed that I was cramping, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together. So now I've done the precision hydration sweat test, and the results showed that I'm a quite heavy sweater in terms of salt content, about 1,550 milligrams per liter. Definitely way more salt content or sodium content that I've been taking compared to my past experience. So I'd say I was closer to maybe 300 milligrams per liter, and 5 times that is what my body actually needs. Quite unreal to me. So knowing this data will definitely help me going into my current training and going into my further races and competition. Extremely grateful for the opportunity. Extremely grateful to have Shannon out there cheering me on, as well as Royce and Stacy. So it was a great time. It's definitely something that I'll never forget. After the race, I told Shannon I'll never do a race again.
How do you feel?
I am so glad it's over, and I never want to do it again. Crap. But you know, here I am next year, 2023, aiming to do another one, and you know, I want to see the improvements and the learnings that I get from there. Just looking forward to putting my nutrition and recovery as well. Recovery is a huge portion that I want to incorporate into my training. Until next time, please like, comment, subscribe. If you're competing in any triathlons or any competitions, let me know. Any tips or tricks you have, feel free to drop them in the comment below. And until next time, have a good one.